Good afternoon. I'm Tips Mahoy, and this is ArthIntel Midday Edition. Coming up, video shows Russian drone chasing Ukrainian street vendor in human safari attack. Top U.S. general warns of insufficient naval forces to protect Israel. Stockton-based In-N-Out manager Ashley Garibay identified as Idaho mass shooting victim. That, plus a check of the weather across the country. A video shared by Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky shows a Russian drone chasing down a street vendor in Ukraine's Kherson region before exploding near him. The man, identified as 52-year-old Yuri, survived with shrapnel wounds, concussion, and trauma, according to a doctor. Zelensky called it a Russian safari attack on civilians, while Ukraine's Foreign Minister Andriy Sybiha described it as a barbaric war crime and part of a deliberate Russian strategy to intimidate civilians. BBC Verified geolocated the footage to a market area in northern Kherson. Russia denies targeting civilians. A top U.S. general is sounding the alarm over stretched naval forces. Officials say Gen. Alexis Grinkiewicz, commander of U.S. European Command, notified Pentagon brass in writing that without an additional destroyer, he may be forced to choose between defending the American homeland and defending Israel. The warning comes amid a 5-month conflict with Iran, with the Navy currently operating 5 destroyers out of Rota, Spain, and a 6th not expected until later this year, as maintenance issues pile up from the war's pace. The Pentagon declined to comment, but defense analyst Tom Kcra says the wartime footing is taking a toll on military readiness and munitions inventories, raising questions about what comes next. A Stockton In-N-Out employee has been identified as one of the victims killed in a mass shooting at the chain's new Twin Falls, Idaho location over the weekend. 23-year-old Ashley Garibay, who worked at the March Lane store in Stockton, had traveled to Idaho to help train workers at the newly opened restaurant when she was killed Saturday. Police say 2 other people died and 7 were wounded before the gunman, 24-year-old Chad Williams, took his own life. Investigators believe he acted alone and no motive has been released. Garibay's family, in a statement, called her an amazing, beautiful soul who dreamed of one day managing an In-N-Out store. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. President Trump personally called Republican Congressman Max Miller of Ohio on Monday, raising concerns about his re-election bid, according to 2 sources who spoke to ABC News. This comes after police reports obtained by ABC News showed his ex-wife, Emily Morno, alleging multiple incidents of physical violence during their marriage and divorce. Miller has denied the allegations to the president and shows no sign of leaving the race. Miller faces a Wednesday deadline to drop out if he wants to be replaced on the ballot, and is facing growing calls to step aside, including from his former father-in-law, Senator Bernie Morno. President Trump is throwing his support behind Darline Nordone, the sister of late Senator Lindsey Graham, in her bid for a full Senate term. In a Truth Social post, Trump said he personally asked her to run for the good of our nation, calling her a spectacular person and a true American patriot. Nordone was appointed to the seat by Governor Henry McMaster after her brother's unexpected death in July, and confirmed last month she'd seek a full term. She now faces a crowded field in the August 11th special Republican primary, including Representatives Ralph Norman and Russell Fry, and former Graham challenger Mark Lynch. A federal judge in Albany has blocked a New York law that would have banned ICE agents from wearing masks and required them to display visible identification. Judge Me D'Agostino ruled the Trump administration showed a likelihood of success on its claim that the law violates the Constitution's Supremacy Clause, which bars states from regulating federal law enforcement. However, the same ruling let stand a separate New York law banning local police from cooperating with ICE. Governor Kathy Hochul and Attorney General Letitia James said in a joint statement they still believe masked agents do not make New York safer, and are reviewing their legal options on the mask ruling. A Washington, D.C. veteran is suing after National Guard troops detained her outside her own home. Ring camera video from May 8 shows Anna King, a retired Army captain who served in Iraq, being pushed to the ground and zip-tied by 3 Idaho National Guard members as she sat on a bench outside her house. The ACLU of D.C. and the law firm Levy Firestone Muse have filed a federal claim seeking $3 million saying King suffered lasting injuries. The National Guard says troops approached her because she was suspected of assaulting a Guard member 2 days earlier, a claim her attorneys call baseless. King's attorneys say she believes she was targeted for publicly protesting the Guard's deployment in the city, and King is now facing charges of assaulting the Guard members who detained her. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. Ford reported a 10.2% drop in U.S. vehicle sales for July, but the automaker says it's actually a good sales month. According to Rob Caffel, Ford's director of U.S. sales, the decline was intentional, as the company sunsets the Ford Escape and Lincoln Corsair while clearing room for new product launches by the end of the decade. Ford also says it slashed less profitable rental fleet sales by 96% compared to last year, instead prioritizing retail sales of its F-Series pickups as production recovers from 2 fires last year at a key aluminum supplier. The U.S. Justice Department deployed election monitors to 4 Michigan cities Tuesday as voters cast ballots in a closely watched primary. The department's Civil Rights Division is watching polling sites in Detroit, Hamtramck, Lansing, and East Lansing, Democratic-leaning cities home to large Black, Arab American, Muslim, and college student populations. The primary will determine the November matchup for an open U.S. Senate seat, one of the most competitive races of the 2026 midterms. Detroit is seen as the key turnout center for Democrats, while East Lansing anchors the Michigan State University student vote. 25 Democratic-led states have sued the Trump administration over a new wave of tariffs hitting dozens of trading partners, including the UK, China, and the European Union. The White House says the duties, ranging from 10 to 12.5%, are a lawful response to countries failing to tackle forced labor in their supply chains. But the states, in legal documents seen by the BBC, call the move arbitrary, capricious, and contrary to law, arguing officials only spent 2 months investigating 60 trading partners this time, compared with 8 months when China alone was targeted in 2018. New York Governor Kathy Hochul said the tariffs amount to a tax on hardworking families, while White House spokesman Kush Desai insisted Section 301 tariffs have proven to be a legally durable tool. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. John Carlson headlines this year's fantasy hockey free agency winners after signing a 2-year, $17 million contract with the Tampa Bay Lightning. That's despite Carolina having acquired his negotiating rights from Anaheim just before the market opened. Carlson hit the 60-point mark in 71 games split between Anaheim and Washington last season, and analysts say his value could climb even higher if he earns a spot on Tampa Bay's top power play unit. The College Football Playoffs Management Committee meets August 10th to dig into details on possible 16 and 24-team playoff formats, according to sources who spoke with CBS Sports. CFP Executive Director Rich Clark says the meeting won't produce a final decision, but will inform choices expected later this fall, citing calendar, revenue, and conference championship considerations. The Big Ten, per Commissioner Tony Petitti, supports a 24-team field, while the SEC has long favored 16 teams, though Commissioner Greg Sankey says the conference is open to learning more about the bigger format. Clark tells CBS Sports the options have been narrowed to 3. Stay at 12, expand to 16, or expand to 24. But the Big Ten and SEC must agree before any change happens. ArthIntel Headline News is brought to you in part by Toolbox Development, AI web development and marketing. Learn more at toolboxdevelopment.net. We'll be right back. And finally, here's a look at temperatures across the country right now. It's hottest in Phoenix at 104 degrees, while Minot, ND, is the coolest spot on the board this afternoon at 68. That's ArthIntel Midday Edition for now, 12 stories coast to coast. I'm Tips Mahoy for ArthIntel, signal over noise. If you appreciate data over drama, subscribe and hit the notification bell. Visit arthintel.com for detailed news updates.